We left off last week in the middle of the long Taz, Shin Mem, Seif and Beis. We'll go through it again very quickly. The Taz is talking about a case we have letters written on the side of a Sefer without open and close the Sefer. So let's see again in the middle of the Taz in Seif and Beis. It starts with Belavush Kosav. Stop with it again, we'll go through it quickly. So it says, Belavush Kosav, it's like a couple of lines in. Venerally, the Huad did Eisen Sforim, Shekhaiskin Alei, Barashe Chudei Adaf, and the right on the sides, on the pages, the Mailar, Ben Sedem, on top or on the sides, Eisiais, Eitevais, words or letters, Moishanagu, Ktas, Eisen Sforim. Also, the Paischam Shabbos, the Levush holds that those Svarim are also to open them on Shabbos, Mishum Moichik. Why? You're breaking the Isis and you're erasing them. Now you can't read the Isis. To go reclose it afterwards. When you put them back together again, you are writing. It's worse than breaking the cookies that we had last week. By the cookies, when you're breaking them, all you have is moichik. And it's not manas lichtai. We can yes moichik on manas lichtai. Shreidaita lachzor v'lesegrei achar halimud. You're going to reclose it after you learn. V'karav aniloymar shechayiv olav chafetz ad kal neshoinoi. That is the lesson of the Levush. The Levush says they may be chayiv achatos. Every time you open a sefer with wording on the side and close it, there's a chayiv achatos. V'kama hifriz harav al midosav. The Taz argues on the Levush. He says it was too machmir. And he explains that
what's the lesson Hifriz on again? Who's being Hifriz on?
The Levush was machmir.
That's too much. Too much of a
machmir. Hifriz on later means he went too far out of the way to be machmir. So he says even if you're going to say it's called kaisiv, the Philipis Virasa is still potter. Why? Do ein mischaven beskiras hasefer.
Never mind, zero. It's subticha. I mean,
both of them. Yeah. Kadei sheyu ha'isius misedorim. He doesn't care about that the letters on the side of the page should be mesudded. Ela skiras hasefer v'chaven. All he cares about is to close the sefer. So therefore, it's ein mischaven, even though it's a psikresha, maybe a psikresha lanichalei, and therefore you can't say they chayav chatas. So here, the Taz says, I argue in his holy side that it's called moichik and kaisiv when you open and close the sefer. The Taz holds it's not called moichik and it's not called kaisiv. Why? If you write one letter in Tveria, the city, in a different city, it's considered a writing. Also, because of the Gemara there says if someone writes one letter, let's say at the end of a page, and in Tveria, another letter in the beginning of a page in Tzipori, even though they're far away from each other, but since you can come and put them together, all it is a mechutz kreva. So writing one letter at the end of a page and another letter at the beginning of a page, even though they're not next to each other, is a chiyav chatas. As if you wrote it together. So the Taz is going to say, if that's the case, so once you have it, such letters, you can't say separating them is called moichik. Because even when you separate them, they're still considered together, because it's considered chaisiv if you write it. So you can tell me when you separate them, now you chayav achatos? That's the Taz is right. It can't be mechayav achatos if when you write it and they're separate, it's already considered a finished product. So now when it's together, when you're separating it, it's still a finished product.
Two separate isurim. One is kiva, one is moichik.
It's not moichik, it's still considered together. That's what you're saying. It's not considered moichik, it's still considered together. It's still considered there. If you write an ice at the end of a page and the ice at the beginning of a page and they're far away from each other, we look at it as if they're together, and you have a ksiva of two ices together. So what are you going to say? When it's together and you separate it, so what happens?
It's not ksiva anymore.
It's still cohesive. Even though it's separated, we still look at it as if it's together. That's what the Taz says.
So how do you spot the raya is when you open and you close the book?
It's still together.
It's still there.
It's still considered together.
Meaning you're saying that the ktiva has already been done, so you can't be
correct.
Again.
You can't erase it. The only way you can erase it is if you erase the letter.
Right.
But separating is not called erasing.
So you can't have again a chiva each time you
can't have a chiva meichik.
So I hear that start, but I thought that the problem is like this. If think of the same example, but using it from a different perspective, which is, when a person writes in Sipori and how he writes in Tveria, it's mechusar kreva, and therefore it would be aser. That's like siva, right? It's aser, it's chatas at that point. So then, if you have the sparm and you're putting it together, right, you should for sure be chayev, right? The opposite spar would be why? Because you see that mechusar kreva is going to be chayev. So for sure, if you're going to be mekarev it.
Oh, but it's written. You're not writing it. You're not writing it.
After somebody else puts it together, the second person's not writing anything.
Yeah. So this is the writing. So it's saying the issue is the writing. Now the problem is that even though it's written, they're not together.
The person who's going to be
the second person carve is potter. If you mutter, it's the same. Right. The second person is the first person. That's what Taz is right. What he's saying is that the first person is a chi of chatos. If you say it's aser. So you could say it's aser, but maybe it's not called a chi of chatos. It's a chomer, don't do it. But when you put it together, that's what it's really done.
So playing a game with letters.
We'll get everything. We'll get to the cases soon.
Okay.
Oops, sorry. We'll start before we go to this, yeah?
Oops.
Sorry. So when you have the Taz is saying that when you have the letters and you write them and they're separate, if you chayev a chatos when they're written and they're separate, so it must be that it's done. The ksiva is done. You can't do any more ksiva. That's what Taz is right.
So this case is again. I wasn't here last week. Is it like letters on the side?
Yeah. So you write letters on the side of but then you open it, and now you break the lettering, and then you close it. That's the side. Opening and closing the sefer with lettering on the side.
Letters or any photos.
We'll see. Yeah, Taz Meikov. The Levush says chayev chatos, and the Taz is being Meikov. So Israel is from that case of Sipari. He goes back to the Taz and says, if they can't read together, if you write two letters, one at the beginning of a page and one at the end of a page, so then you potter. Why you potter? Because in order to get them together, you have to cut away the page and put the letters together. But if one's written at the end of a page and one at the beginning of a page, then it is chayev chatos. Also, the kraver pirish eine mekarvan elai de tzitza hamafsik beineim. They have to cut down the page. When do we say the chayev? We're going kosav echal svas luach zu betveria va'atu yachal lekarev shlei b'maiser al kraver ba'alma v'hinei mechuyev the hasem nilmer tur l'nidon. For the fact that it's there, it's a chayev chatos. Alona apatur to our case. The chihechi the hasem. Chayev mishum ksiva, afapisha ain't smuchim, ela havayin kilu hem zeh to zeh. They're all like they're next to each other. Chayev chatas memela kan to nisrachka ksiva chashiva la kilu adayin smuchim. We look at it as if they're still together. That's the side. If they're written and they're far away from each other, we look at it as if they're together. So if it's written and you're separating them, the separation is not a separation, and it's as if it's still together.
What's the mention of the ktitza?
No, ktitza is the case if you have one written on the beginning of the page and one at the end of the page.
And then you cut
there you potter. Why you potter? Because it's not going to say that you read them together. Because you have to cut the page and then put them together.
And Tveria and Sipori.
Just Kiruv. Ma'aser Kiruv ba'alma. Just get them together. That's worse. That's worse than cutting it.
I get it.
That's worse than cutting it.
One is active. You have.
No, but you're not doing it. If you write on top of one page,
right,
and you write on the bottom of one page,
right.
I'm hearing that's not going to be. That's going to be put.
So,
but
I write the different pages.
As long as we can't put them together. It can be the same page, it can be different pages, as long as you can't get them together.
It doesn't have potential to be put together.
It doesn't have any potential to put together.
But if you write in Tzederi and you write in Tzipori...
You don't have to do anything, just put them together. Yeah, you're not missing anything. Mechusa Kreva is also in the Gemara. All you're missing is...
from one to the other.
You drive.
You're welcome.
All these things
How you gonna drive?
That's a shadow. It's chutz l'tchum from each other. It's a problem.
It's no worse than...
No, but we're talking about it's in Teichat Tchum, because if it's chutz l'tchum, how do you get there?
That's what we were wondering.
Yeah, no, it's Teichat Tchum.
We thought it's very...
No, it's Teichat Tchum.
They are far away.
Yeah.
Tzipori is a mokshav.
No, but it has to be torn. It's Teichat Tchum, otherwise how do you get there?
No, it's not. It's really not. Only getting out from Tveria will take you 1 hour. So if you get to Tzipori, that will be 70.
No, it depends on his houses there.
Doesn't matter even if you are at the end of the two.
No, but there's houses there. If there's houses, there's still Teichat Tchum.
No, I'm talking about the last house in Tveria. To reach to the first house.
Today, you know what was going on those days. Maybe it was all built up in those days. You don't know.
You have to assume that.
You have to assume that. It can't be chutz l'tchum, yeah. So that's the difference. If it's a mechusa kreva, they're considered together. If it's a mechusa tzitza, you have to cut it down, then they're not considered as if they're together already. So he says, from there we learn, from that chiv we learn of Torah to us. Me'akanda esrach ha'ksiva chashiva lak ilu adayin tzmucha. Ve'iyu le'ovid midi. Hein le'inyan shli osa mechak. Sai b'negeya that he didn't make an erasing. Hein k'shechayze v'seigram le'ovid ma'isa chadash. He didn't do a new ma'isa of writing. Ki aksiva kvarhi kayemes. The ksiva is already there from beforehand. Don't say the Hasam Bina can the Chumra Dafka Mashenken can the Lakula, he was doing the Lakula. You can't say that. The Gabe Chiv Chatas ain't Shaya Chumra. If you say Chayav Chatas already when you write one at the end of a page, one at the beginning of a page, Chayav Chatas, it must be it's already considered done with the Raisa. Otherwise, it wouldn't be Chayav Chatas, as there's Chash, or maybe Chulin La'azara. Anytime it says Chayav Chatas, this is the Klal. Find a lot of times in the Rishonim, in the Gemara. Anytime it says in the Gemara, Chayav Chatas, it's not a suffix, it's not a chumrah, it's a vadai. Because if Chayav Chatas, you can't be machmir to bring a Chatas because it's chulun la'azara. If you're not mechuyev Chatas, so then you're bringing a carbon into the azara, which is not really a carbon. A Chatas is only if you did something wrong. If you're not sure if you did something wrong, you say, I'm going to be machmir, I'm going to bring a carbon Chatas. You're not allowed to do that. So the fact that it says Chayav Chatas is a raya, but it's a vadai. It's not a chumrah. It's a vadai that's considered a full ksiva already, even though they're far apart from each other.
It's okay. So you can bring an asham
no, an asham tali is if it's only. No, if you forgot. If you forgot. Because you don't know, you did something
you need to be
if you're not aware that you could have done something you could have not.
No, asham tali is only if you're not sure what you did.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
If you know what you did, you're not sure if it's asur or mutter, right, then you can't bring Asham Tali.
Are you confident?
No, Asham Tali is only if you know exactly what you did, but you're not. If you don't know what you did, you're not sure if you ate chelev or you ate shuman.
Right.
You're not sure what you did. Then you bring Asham Tali because at one point you can figure out and remember what you did. Then you bring a Karban Chatas.
Right.
But if you know exactly what you did, but you're not sure if it's us or not, you can't bring an Asham Tali. The Su, the Gam Lekulam Nilma Behedia, Mahasam, we learn out from there, the Hasam Mashma, the Ilu Hayiksuvim Kredim Shabbos, Eis Echad Rachas Mechaveda, Vikavam Nadadi B'Shabbos, Tevada En Chiv is there. Dim Leloikein, Amrayim Mina Sham B'Chaya B'Kais of Beis Oisis. The Gemara says the Yechav and you're right, to Oisis have a Leima, the Philip Suvim Kvar, even though they're written already, Alashayim Rechakim, Mekirvim, B'Shabbos, B'Chayav, Alavadai, Shapotir B'Zeh, Avada Yepotir, Da'akirov, Einoi, Moyo, V'loi Mevatel, Klal. To putting them together is not doing anything, and it's not separating anything, and it's all mutter, Hachanami kan demasha kirib oisish nesrachu le'ovid midi. Upashat shebizeh le'shayich loymar demidrabanan miuasa. Says the Taz, you're right. Okay, midaraisa, it's okay. But let's ask the midrabanan. It looks like you're writing. Taking two oysters and putting them together. So maybe it's also midrabanan. Says the Taz, you can't say that. The das ma'ram k'ugayt is a chanu, the hasam have a kapanim mekalkal. The reason why the maram asked by the cookies was because at least you're being a mekalkal. Breaking up the cookies, it's a mekalkal.
And you can't put them together again, basically.
Yeah, and you can't put them together again. Correct. Kiven achesh neshtabru lo'moyel sham kiru. The ef shalasus mehem chibur echad achesh sheishabram. It's not possible to put them together, so it's a full kilkel. Avakan. It's not called a kilkel because you can put them right back. The kolshkin shalanischaven afilu lezeh she oislios nishborim. Since you have a chaven to it, the zikha mutter b'chem mashma oider ashkos perikaboina kotzav ois achas v'shlima lesev is another raya. Let's leave this raya aside now. So the Taz basically comes out the kula. He says there's no isser. Opening and closing the sefer is just like opening and closing the door. He doesn't bring the raya, but the others bring their raya. And there's no isser of opening and closing the sefer because the ices are there already. It's already written. Opening and closing is not called kaisev amaychik. Kaisev amaychik is only if you write the ice. But if the ice is there already, it's not called kaisev. And the Magen Avram also brings it down. The Magen Avram says, we saw last week, middle of Sifkat and Vav, the Magen Avram writes, the Sefer Shkosav al Dafan Isis Mutal Peischov Lanoiloi, the Kimin the Asa Lina Loftech Lekem Mishum Moichik Ayisham Sherach. That's the Magen Avram also make on.
The question we have is, if anything, if when you open it to the book, you're only writing shibboleths, because you can always say there's always the bottom part or the
okay, so let's finish the Taz. Let's finish the Taz. Okay. There's the Taz. Taz says maybe you can say your chiluk. Taz says the next line. Ve'en l'chalik the dafka beit ois shalom lo'ois shalom lo'imahani akirov. Al v'ois echad shenisparik. You're breaking up an ice may be worse than separating two ices. If you have two ices, so each ice is a full ice. The question is if you can read them together. So separating is not so bad. Right. When we have one ice and you're breaking up the ice, so that ice is gone. So maybe it's worse. So the Taz is no chiluk. The kachli ois echad she'ei b'chiv Shabbos k'may chatzi ois v'akirav atzarech l'nechiv Shabbos abeit oisis have k'may chatzi ois te'ei b'chiv kein nil afim yizvati. Taz says it can't be mechalek between a full ois and a half ois. Doesn't make a difference. If a full ois, taking two oises together, is not considered making the earth, then taking two pieces of an ois and putting them together is not considered making a letter.
Right, no, which is what I'm saying. I mean, which is why I'm saying it's very different from kosher mochik because they're usually with full otil, whereas here you can always say that there's already half it here when you open a book.
No, but the question is if it's half and half, maybe it's worse if breaking the ice.
No, but you're breaking it lengthwise. You're breaking it that way.
Yeah, but you're breaking
you've got half a tilt here and you've got
half a top
there. So at the most you can say you're writing. When you say there is kosher, but you're only writing half.
Yeah, but you can't be. If you take an olive, right, and you erase the bottom of it, it's called mochik. It's called mochik.
It means you have to
read it. It's called mochik.
Okay, so you have to. So it's like you have to erase the
whole thing. You have to erase the whole thing out. So that's the Taz and the Magen Avram. So when you read the Taz and the Magen Avram, you come after Taz and the Magen Avram. L'chayra, it's the kula. You have a book. And it's written on the side, Brooklyn Public Library. They used to have it written on the side of the right? You want to open it up at Shabbos, it's mutter. Right? That's what come out. If you look at the Mishnah Berurah, not so happy with it.
But the Magen Avram comes out also right?
It comes out of the Kula.
I thought he says, he doesn't hold by the Chuvas Ramah. He brings down the Lavush also. He brings down the Chuvas Ramah.
Right. So the Magen Avram comes out near the Hachmi. Yeah, sorry.
No,
yes.
No.
That's what the question. Yeah, it's not clear. He says clearly the hachmir, but the kashrut-kosher is mekel.
He says he doesn't like the rise of the
Ramah. Yeah.
We don't know what the Jewish Ramah because the Taz also didn't see the rise.
He says he doesn't like the rise. Yeah. Achrayos said lo yadana. I don't like.
I don't know if that's just opening opinion. If that's his svara. Is that his svara?
I don't know. I didn't see the shoes anymore.
No, it seems like it doesn't bring down the reason.
No. So let's see what the Mishnah Berurah says about this. Look at the Mishnah Berurah, Seif Kotin Yud Zayin. It says in the middle of Seif Kotin, Sefer. It's after a daf. The Seif is a concept of Allah Baruch Lichtenstein Dafav. It's like 6 lines from the bottom. The Seif is a concept of Allah Baruch Lichtenstein Dafav. Oisi Oisi Tevois. Yes, Oisun the Paiskai V'Lanoi the Shabbos, which is Lavush. They have Sicha. So look in the bottom. It's interesting. The Sharatzian says, "Who's Machmir Halavush?" From Morgan Avram.
Yeah, you see.
So he's learning the Morgan Avram. That the Morgan Avram is Machmir. The Sharatzian which learns the Morgan Avram is Machmir. Okay. So this ice in the place of Lanoi Shabbos, like the Psicha Shayv and Isis. Have a Kamachik, Rechain, Kishanoyle, have a Kaisiv, Aval Das for a Mo, but Shuva the Hakabazer, Rechain Das, Harbe Achroinim. That's a Das for Harbe Achroinim. It says in the bottom, Makas Fagdele, Tazra, Pisha Verama, the Chavisor, Elirabah, with the Shabbos, Oit Poshim. There's a whole list of places that are Mekel. The time bomb, the reason is they keep in the Osel Linovel of Toyach Tomid, since it's meant to open and close constantly, Leka Be Mishum Mechika. There's always a mechika v'ksiva v'havika delas aniska v'niftach tamid the aim by misham binyan v'stira v'chein haminig. Says the Mishnah Berurah, just like a door, opening and closing the door is not called binyan v'stira. The same thing, opening and closing letters that are already written is not called kaisiv v'machem. U'makamakam says the Mishnah Berurah nachayin v'hachmir k'sheyesh lo sefer acher. If you have another sefer nachal v'hachmir, not to use this one. And if you look at the bottom, Siv Kotan Chav Hey says, the Sharatzian writes, Kain Masher Merchaye Adam, Kain Chasav Sefer Tferes Yisrael. He says, this words are very important. He says, L'chatchila, Vavadai, Toiv, Yoytzer, Lotzeis, HaKoil, Shaloi, Lasais, Oisis, Achud Adam. Don't write it. Don't do it. If someone has a book and he needs to read it on Shabbos, yes, I'll be listening to open it up. But the L'chatchila is showing stamp on the side of the Svar. So a shul definitely should not do it. Shuls have it, sides, it should not be done. The shul should not do it. Lots of the shul, if they don't use the Svar, then it's okay, but if they use the Svar, then it's a problem.
I wonder if you could eliminate that problem by taking one of the pages and just putting clear tape across it. The letters are then already broken. When you put it back together,
so you can still read it. You can still read it. The answer would be it sticks in the paper.
Or is it breaking?
No, but when you put it together, you can read it.
Yeah.
It's still called an ice.
But the letters are not together.
No, but you can read it. Once you can read it, it's called an ice. If you have a letter and you leave out one line of the letter, a small little, and as long as you can read it, it's called an ice. The answer is if you stick something in the sefer before Shabbos. So when you close it, it's never attached. That's an answer they give. But it has to be across the whole place where the lettering is, because we just put in part of it, so that the other part of the lettering is going together.
No, if you have a sefer open from before Shabbos, okay, are you cautious that you're going to close it, or you go ahead and read it? I mean, according to those other, to the ones who are...
No, it's open before Shabbos, you use it.
No, people who are enough I'm talking about.
So you have to make them luxurious. Because you're going to close it. You don't have to worry about that. You can use it. It's open, you can use it.
Are we worried only about otiyot, or what about designs?
Design of the picture. So it's only if it's a real design, a picture, something. Just what they have in the side of the farm,
houses and there are a lot of
like different colors. Like this. Like this. Very good. This is nothing. If you have a size form like this, that's nothing. It's not called pictures. It's not called. It's nothing.
But if it was making a picture.
But if it was a picture, if it was a certain pattern, a certain picture, then it would be awesome.
Going back to my example, if that tape was not clear, let's say it was...
If you make it that you can't read it, then it's fine. If it's folded over on the page, right? So what happens is basically all you have is one page that separates the letters, but you can still read the letters. As long as you can read it, it's a problem.
So recognize it doesn't work like that.
As long as you can make out what it says, it's a problem.
Even if it's broken.
Even if it's broken. Fine.
And that's why even if you rip something, if the letter is still legible, then you have not known Mechika. Is that correct?
Correct. If you're ripping something on Shabbos, something open, and most of the letter is still there,
you can read the letter.
And if you read the letter, then it's not a problem with Mechika. Right. Correct. It's also a problem. People open up, but there's also a big shadow. People open up bags on Shabbos, and there's lettering on the bag. So you're allowed to open it or not. You're allowed to open it or not. So this is a heter. According to Taz, you have a heter. Rip it open, you rip through the letters, you always put them together again. So it should be mutter. What's the difference in opening of a Sefer? Sefer is easier to put together, doesn't make a difference. According to Taz, you have this cooler.
No, the question is whether it's considered mekalka, and the fact is that you can't put them together, especially on certain bags that you tear.
Yeah, but you can always put them together. Also, speaking about if you have a book or a Sefer, and the page is ripped.
Right.
So you want to put it together so you can read it. You want to align it so you can read it. According to Taz, it's not going to be mutter.
It would make a difference if you rip it so that the letters are separate, or let's say...
Does it make a difference? You have to, no, it depends if it rips through the letter.
Right.
Depends if it rips through the letter. If it doesn't rip through the letter, you want to put it together.
Yeah, right.
That's more calm. That's more calm.
So Moshe has a truth on that.
What?
On that.
When it's ripped?
Yeah.
How much to say?
It's mutter.
It's mutter to put it together. Because of the Taz.
Yeah, he just said that in that case, you know.
Yeah, and ripping up with something on the letters.
And his truth is he's brought down here.
Yes, if I'm not mistaken, some person are more machmer on opening up packages of letters and they're not ripped through the letters. But according to the Taz, there's no problem really. There's no difference of a package or a sefer.
So if you have, typically a sweetener you're trying to open up on Shabbos, you have to be careful not to open it on the letters.
Right, that's a Shabbos. If you careful not to open the letters, because you put it back together again or not.
Is it that you can, or that it's likely that you like? What's the nekuda of this idea? No, it might be like kilko like the cookie, because when you open the sweetener, you
never putting it back together again.
There's no intention to put it back. How different is it in a cookie? Well, a cookie is consumed.
No, that's the difference. The cookie is there for chila. The opening of the thing.
No, it's the same. The cookie is called kilko because you're breaking it. You can't put it back together again.
Right.
Right? So also when you rip open the sugars, so really you can't put it back together again.
Well, you can, but you just don't. Can. I mean, the fact is that you don't, but you can if you want to. But you, at the moment, you don't.
When you open the biscuit package.
Yeah, the package.
That's the 8 says that you rip it so that you can't put it back together again.
Yeah, but that's you don't have to doises. You rip the top, that would be the letters. You rip it through, you shouldn't be able to destroy it, you can't open it, but to rip through the letters may be worse. So the truth is, in the case of the cookie, the problem was because you're destroying letters. He's never destroying it. I always put it back together again. But when you're eating it, you can't put it back together again. I'm not sure about the sugars. Maybe you should not rip through ices. That's called destroying it, maybe. Because it's very hard to put it back together again. The heter is, you open and close it constantly, so it's not a problem. But once it's harder to open it, I don't have the shiloh, but there's a lot of times have the soda caps. The plastic caps, but they have like a number, a serial number across the bottom, right? So, could you open it and close it? Right, and some people are machmer, they say every time you turn it, and it passes the bottom half, you're writing and you're erasing.
Right.
Right? Well, that's according to the Taz, that's definitely mutter. According to the Taz, definitely mutter. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about that.
So even if you open the bottle pre-Shabbat, before Shabbat,
right. Honestly, keep making on that. It's not a problem. So definitely keep making on it because it's easy to put together again.
Right.
Sweet and lows, those things are much harder to put together again. Okay. We're not passing a lot of lights here.
Okay. He's taking away sweet that we have to do.
Okay, that's the end of Seif Gimel. Let's move on to Seif Dalet. Seif Dalet. Yesh lezoyer shalichta be'etzboi b'mashkin. Have to write with your finger on a mashkin on liquids. Al hashulchan oy be'efin. Anytime you write something, even though it's not really going to last for too long, when you run your finger through something, for example, kids make pictures on the windows. It's also to do that, because even though it's not going to last forever, but it has a last temporarily, therefore it's also. Then but issa there is. You can make in the ear. Like Isis, when you try to show somebody something, then you're allowed to do, because that has no kiyum b'chlal. But to do something that has a little bit of a kiyum is also to do it.
So basically, sign the language on Shabbos, you're fine.
Sign on Shabbos, you're fine, yeah. So let's see the Mishnah Berurah over here. Mishnah Sifkan Yotches. יש לזור, אז למה after חיב חטס לקה, דבעינן שיכתב דווקא בדיוי, ובשעה דבר חייצה בזה, שבשום המסקיים, מחדול כמי. We'll see soon, if we get to today, or the halachas, but the Mishpur, the whole Abichas have different halachas of ksiva. And the Magen Avraham also has, we didn't go through the Magen Avraham, we just skipped it, we'll get back to maybe soon. But no, we should see the beginning of the Magen Avraham. Sorry, I understand. To go back to the Magen Avraham, before the Mishnah, Sifka and Zion. The Magen Avraham Sifka and Zion. He says the Mashkin,
Magen Avraham.
Magen Avraham Sifka and Zion. The Mashkin or Imkosav Potten. If you write the pot, the word that occurs to be Dioy al Yerokos on vegetable leaves, about cold davar she'eni omid, it's not going to last forever. Potten. Ad she'ichtav davar omid al davar omid v'chen amochi. The only time there's a chiyuv, they both have to be miskayim. But if one of them are not miskayim, whether it's the ink, whether it's the paper, then it's only this d'Rabbanan. But this d'Rabbanan there is. Hakoitziv al b'sarai chayiv v'fnei shu or. Someone writes on his hand, it's chayiv because it is or. Afapi shechamimis b'sarai ma'averes haksav la'achar zman. Still, hareza doima l'ksav shanimchak. It's like a ksav that got erased afterwards. Avla Masarit al-Basarai, someone who scratches into his basa tsuris ksav potter. Why? Because that is not derech ksiva.
It's a separate Israeli.
Yeah, so this is doing all mace. But it's not called ksiva and it's potter. So it's interesting. He writes over here that if he writes something on his skin, even though it's going to erase automatically at a certain point, it's still called ksiva, and he says chayiv. That is awesome. Chayiv. So we have here a very interesting Magen Avraham. I'm not sure why some person do, some person don't. Being arrived from here, there's a whole shot. If you write something, and it gets erased after a while, or it gets erased very easily. If it's called kaitsev or not. So this that says enim eskayim, you have to know to shout the person, what does it mean enim eskayim? Invisible ink, right? It's not, invisible ink? No. So you write and then erases.
It's china that they put it and it goes, fades out.
Fades out.
After 2 weeks, it fades out.
Fades out. So those things that
in Israel they use it's 2 days.
Doctors, they don't use it.
Some institute has their ink that they were using. Today they don't use it anymore. But
it erases how long? It
fades out.
After how long?
Days.
So that's going to be a problem.
I mean, it can't be. It has to be. It can't be 2 weeks. It's right.
No, so
people would have to come after Shabbos and have to.
Right, so that's a problem. If it lasts till the end of Shabbos, it's not so partial that it's mutter. Because you see over here, the person speaking about this, doctors, they're trying to get a tape for doctors that wouldn't have to write. They should write with a ksav that's not miskayim. But the problem is, you see from over here that if you write ala or, someone writes on his hand, on his skin, it's not going to last that long.
Yeah, if you wash it in your hands, it's
Well,
gone.
even if you don't wash it. Washing is erasing it. Even if you don't wash it.
It seems that skin of the person is different. If you write on Ali Yerokos, right?
Yeah.
There, it's only dependent on how long it is. You're never chayiv on Ali Yerokos.
Right, that's chayiv, right. That's skin the chayiv.
Right.
So why not skin the chayiv?
There's a different din.
Because or.
No, but even, no, this is a skyim, he says.
No, miknei.
Even though it's Maveres Alazman,
so it's
there's a special din in or.
Yeah, because it's or.
No, Ali Yerokos. What's the picture of Ali Yerokos?
No, he says Avosor Chayam miknei.
Ali Yerokos. Where is the or? Because you're writing on something. Different sky.
It's a different.
I know, but he's saying
it's a chumrah in the skin.
Because it's or. Even
What's
though
the chumrah skin? So Ali Yerokos is important because it's not Dabra Oimid. It's not the sky.
Right. And
or
here, even though it's also Dabra.
You're saying that or, even though it's the same level of not Miskayim as Ali Yerokos, it's a different than a sky.
Yes. Yeah. Because it's or. Which means
what's the difference? What's the difference?
I don't know. Like, I mean, but that's what we.
That's what he's saying.
If you just learn the.
What he said.
What's the other way to learn it? That Ali Yerokos is a lower level?
Correct. That's right. So Ali Yerokos gets erased much quicker than Ala Or on your skin.
I'm not so sure why.
On your skin.
Why?
I thought the machine was that way.
Oh.
Could be I'm wrong. I thought Ali Yerokos is because it doesn't last long, so it's not called ksiva. But when you're writing on your skin, even though it's a race after a while, it's still called a ksiva.
Well, he starts with mikneshu or. I mean, the first thing he was worried about, why is it chayav? Because it's or.
Why do you have to add those words for you saying?
Yeah.
It's easier.
Well, it's part of this. There's three words. There's korveya, there's mesartet, and.
It's not something else. It's not the ksiva.
But you see that there's one is chayav, one is potter, right?
So no, Masarta is because it's not their ksiva.
Right, but
ksiva or is chayiv.
Masarta also is ksav potter.
Right.
So Masarta is going to be potter. Korei or is going to be chayiv. In other words, it's a din in or. Something about or. Right. Something about the din of or. Or has a different.
Tattoo. Yeah. Tattoo is on.
Okay, so I'm not sure. I have to check into this. I hear what you say, but. We have to have a reason for it. Why is the exercise passive the or is worse?
Because he's saying writing on or.
But the truth is that you look at a lot of the poskim, they don't, when they speak about a ksav that gets erased, they don't bring rice in the case of or. Something I'm not sure why.
Right, you don't. So the window, the moisture, all these.
Right, no, that's definitely the rabbanon because that's going to go away very quickly.
Because maybe he's saying or is special. Or has its own.
Could be. So I have to check into it.
There used to be a time, it was when I started my career, that it was all about ink that was invisible, and they saw how they used to do it. Right. The issue is the computer, right? Screen is that considered a ksiva that it doesn't? It's in a. Do you look at it as what's on the screen, or do you look at it what's on the memory?
The memory, yeah.
Right.
No,
so that's
a computer. That's called kaiser or not.
It's much more mako today, ironically, with the computer than it is with writing.
Yeah, because you could do it with a goyim also. You can do it with a goyim, and you can do it with a shinui. Yeah, it's different time for computers.
Sure, the hospitals in Israel today, the Shartetic, like they moved to computers, and it's much easier.
Doctor Rice
possibly.
So it's much easier to doctor write prescriptions.
Easier to start doing. The preferred to have a prescription today is to put it into your phone versus
writing it.
The person comes to your house,
There's no shot. The person speak about it. Today's person.
So does the computer, the memory, does it go at the end?
No, the screen is gone. So it's not.
So you just go by the screen. But what if you're going by the memory?
No, you don't. I'm saying. So Ravasha Wise.
There's not another writing halamoid. I'll speak about it also. It's a writing halamoid unless you have to. It's writing in a computer called writing. Typing in a computer halamoid. That's one of the shaylas. Is that called kaisiv or not?
Right.
It's not called writing. It's not Shabbos. Speaking of computers, is called kaisiv because it doesn't last. It goes on the screen and erases. Yeah. Okay, so I have to check into this if or is different than anything else. But if you write something, it's not miskayim, it's only issa d'rabbanan. But avada and issa d'oraisa, you won't have if it's not miskayim. So look at the Mishnah Berurah over here. He says, yes, the zar, but after chiv chatas, that could be a shift of dafka b'dyoya b'shar דבר קריאציה בזה, שרשום במסקיים, אנחנו גנף לך מדבר also אף אין מסקיים. The mashke, what is the table that's by be'ez a mashke, with kosef by ala shulchan. You take your hand, you make it wet, and you write on the table. What I did on the yard, the klaf, the cריאציה בזה, because it's not מסקיים. Kosef achrev, that fill them kosef by mashke, דבר שאין מסקיים, going on all the yochid, cריאציה fill up with the rabbanon also. So anything that has some type of kiyum is also midrabanan. It says, you have a dry aphid or sand, or choil, you put your hands in it and you write something. What then? You have the condensation on the windows. It's also to write. If you write ices on something that's a karish, that's congealed, so there it's already going to stay, and there it's a lot worse.
So you're saying it's humi drabanan, it isn't the Torah, because according to Magen Avraham, we learned that if it's not the Davar Omed,
right,
then he's potter basically. According to the whole thing. Yeah, no, but I mean, we know it's.
No, but the question is, is this called Davar Amaskayim or not?
Well, he's saying it isn't.
You're asking on what?
But I'm saying what? Magen Avraham says it's basically saying what's his yesod? He said if it isn't Davar Omed,
then it's potter also.
Right.
Yeah, but the question is dam shenikrash and cheder shenikrash that may be called Davar Omed. That's the question. Maybe it's called a Davar Omed. Now let's a little further Mr. over here.
Right. How long does it? How long
is that okay? It's very not clear. How long is it called Davar Omed?
Right.
Yes.
How long? Right. I mean,
how long does it last?
So.
But a window lasts a few seconds.
No, a window is definitely not a deraisa. Of course, the bottom it is.
Right.
The bottom it is. Let's see. It says a little further. Lish shamki davar the chaver is a davar v'lamin the amen yoda b'ksiva gezeh. Who then the mutal lira is umnis b'Shabbos. Even though you're learning how to use your hands to make certain pictures, it's still mutter. But also, mutter lira is umnis b'Shabbos afakav shamalam. You know, I look at a mechanic where he fixes a car on Shabbos. Even though you're learning how to do it, there's no issue. No issue to learn to see how something is done. When they're the higher dafka about kroish and his daman la lira is gam zayesh l'zar shlo yidabet azma umma ima'akum. Can't ask the guy how he's doing it, how he's changing the oil, how he's sparking up his tires, whatever he's doing on Shabbos. You're not allowed to speak to the guy about how he does it. If you want, you're allowed to watch. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a different shaila of Musach Heftzcha. And if you look at Sivkan Chabeis, Ba'avin, who had a Moilech Ba'etzboi al Daf Noguf, Ke'en Suras Oisis Gamken Chari. If you do it on a paper and it's dry, it's also mutter kiven the ein rishumoy nicker klau, since there's no resh of nicker at all. The loidomi lamashkin ve'efer. It's not done with the mashkin ve'efer. So basically, we have over here three levels. One level is chayiv chatas, where you write in davar hamaskayim al davar hamaskayim chayiv chatas. Then you have Pater Aval Aser, which is you writing on something that's not Miskayim, with something that's not Miskayim, or on something that's not Miskayim, Pater Aval Aser. Exactly how long is called Miskayim? Not clear. Ask your local competent Orthodox rabbi exactly what's called Miskayim. Then you have something that's not Miskayim Klal. For example, you just worship with your fingers, you're making pictures with your fingers. That's called Dorish Enim Miskayim Klal, and that is
what's the halacha mean is that if someone asked you, where is this, and you said 1 or 2, like, what's the halacha mean that there would be any ksiva if you're in the air?
You're making your eyes with your hands.
I understand the condensation. I just couldn't understand.
It's not called chesed. It's not chesed.
Mutter. I mean, what's
the chiddush you're saying? It's not chesed.
What's the halacha mean that you would have thought doing?
Because you're making your eyes. You're making it nice.
Where? What?
In the air, you're showing it nice. Yeah?
Well, that's sign language. Okay.
Yeah, that's type of sign. This is type of sign.
I don't know. I just didn't understand.
This is not the sign language.
If you think about a written letter, it's a memorization. When I see this picture, it represents this sound, this letter. So what is going to be different to make that?
Initially, you had to have the letters that were very put together. Okay, fine. We couldn't come up with a
okay, now, there's a long Mishnah over here, which I'd like to go through it. But before we go through it,
hold on.
Okay, let's see. I'm going to do Seif now, because Seif is the last halacha of Kosher, and then maybe next week we'll go through the long Mishnah. We'll do it quickly with all the halachas of Kosher. But for now, I think I'm going to skip the Seif. The next week we'll go through the Magen Avraham inside, and the end of Seif Zayin that we didn't do yet, and then we'll do the long Mishnah. But for now, let's do Seif. We'll finish up with the Kosher. Mutar Lisha Mitzvahim ala Sefer K'may Sheroshim the Siman. You're allowed to take your finger and make a ratio on a Sefer to know what you're holding. Even though it leaves the nail, even though it leaves an indentation, and now you know what you're holding, so it's mutar. So ain't that davar hamiskayim? It flows away. And here it's mutar even. Here it's even mutar. Before we had davar she'ein hamiskayim, there's also with the rabbanon. This is even mutar. It's not a davar hamiskayim.
But it's not even a letter.
It's not even a letter.
So what does it matter if it's hamiskayim or not?
No.
You make a letter.
If you want to write something or a shema, what you're holding with a pen, also with the rabbanon.
Right.
Every shema is also this. Since it's not, if it's an ice, even though it's not miskayim, it's also with the rabbanon. If it's not an ice and it's not miskayim, then we didn't make an ice with the rabbanon. That's the chiddush over here. If you look at Seif contest in the Magen Avraham, mutar lisha b'tzipayin, aval kimin ice is vade asen. Right? Because it's asen with the rabbanon. Even though it's not a davar hamiskayim, it's asen. She'ein zeh davar hamiskayim v'shal kosav dafka b'klaf ha'kosav al niyar asen de miskayim hu. On a cloth that's hard, it's going to eventually, it's not going to stay indented in the whole time in the cloth. But something that's softer, and the indentation will stay forever, then it's awesome, because it's very davar hamiskayim. So basically, the only heter is davar she'ein hamiskayim, and it's only rishim ba'alma that is mutar. Bach oisin afilu b'klaf, chem after piska tosis perik haboyna. Even a coffee acid, massive in a pasuk that way. Says the Magen Avraham, Mashma, beginted of chos. From Teichav oisiyus al ketzav al gabi beged, mikri ksav ayin sham. So you can't after the also lasses b'Shabbos ksav.
What did he do?
Why is it extra? I mean,
so what's happening here is, what you're doing here is,
what's he taking with silver?
You're taking oisiyus, silver oisiyus, a letter that's ready made, and you're attaching it to a piece of paper. You're attaching it to a piece of paper.
The paper to
a beged.
Beged, yeah.
A beged.
You take a letter, which they have to. This is the whole question with making puzzles, stuff like that. You're taking letters. There were separate letters. It wasn't on a piece of paper. So a letter by itself, not on a piece of paper, is not really called ksav. Because it has to be on the paper. Then you have two letters together.
That's Scrabble.
That's Scrabble. Right. Yeah, so what's happening here is you're taking the letter. You're taking the letter. So if there's two letters written on a piece of paper, you carve on that we saw before. There's the mutar for tetans. Here, the Magen Avraham says that it's aser when you take a letter and you put it onto something. So you put two letters onto something, now you just roll two oises.
You need two letters?
In order to be aser, you have to have two letters because then you're kosher. One letter itself, we're not doing anything. So he says it's aser. So talk about oises, so kesef.
Two letters is a chatas. One letter is a direct.
No, I don't think it's a chatas. I don't think it's a chatas.
Two letters? In general.
So two letters is a chatas. Yeah.
Two letters is a chatas.
In general, yeah.
One letter is an
correct. One letter is kashrut-kosher, yeah. Kashrut-kosher. Yeah, but here I don't know if it's going to be a deraisa. So putting the two letters onto the beged, even if you do two, I don't think it's a chiv deraisa. This is the one. It's not chiv because the ice is there ready for beforehand.
He says it. Mikri ksav.
Yeah, but I don't think it means this is deraisa.
So is this came back on the Scrabble shot?
Right, the same thing with the Scrabble shot. So the question is, you take ices, let's put Scrabble aside. You take the letters, And you form in words.
You know what
you form in words with letters.
Have you seen this now? They have, so they sell them in the Jewish bookstores. I don't know if that's a rye or not. They have these letters that are magnets, right? And they have these things that you basically say, I'm coming home to you, you come home before your wife or something like that. You send notes, right? You leave it on the fridge, right? Coming home at 5, but you're making the letters, right? So I haven't seen if they're blocks, like of phrases already. But you're certainly going to make sense.
So here, that's a shadow here. The question is over here, in this case, that's Marsh's case. You have oisius, and what are you doing? You're putting it onto a beggar. So you have, let's say, kashrut-kosher, right? They speak about all these type of things. They're putting oisius onto a letter, onto a beggar.
I know, but that's more kayama. I mean, the magnets or something.
Okay, so that's right. So here, so that's a shadow. Why over here is it more usher than the case before of when you have the letters and you do some caravan?
And how does it stick then?
So some of the person want to say that here it's different because you're sticking it on, you're putting it on a permanent thing.
Right.
Now it's much worse. You're taking letters that didn't have any place.
You're not sewing it.
You're not sewing it. No.
What are you doing?
You're sticking it in. You can take it. You push it hard. You push it hard.
Okay, it's going to fall, but okay.
So there he says usher, mikra ksav. V'imke efshar the usher lasses b'Shabbos ksav. Efshar lasses b'Shabbos. Kosav goes ma'amis by Aleph. Secretary Hod the Isa b'Simon Zayis with Aleph. Kosav b'Shabbos pirish b'ksav. Sorry, let's do this aside a second. So here, this shaila of then the Magen Avraham has the whole thing over here about writing different languages, it's Bechal and Isser. But here, with these putting the pieces on, so the Magen Avraham says it's also.
Is it putting the actual pieces on, or is he imprinting the OCOs onto the beggar? Meaning, in the sense that it's kind of like a stamp, like you're taking these heavy silver letters and pushing the...
No. You're adding it to... You're putting the letters onto something.
How much the letters going to...
Yes, onto something. Okay. So, it's interesting, the Pesachim are not really... The Mishabur, the Magen Avraham is not really Ma'arich in this. But the Pesachim are very Ma'arich in this. If you look around in the Pesachim, the Mishabur brings it down over here, in the Salarichas over there. He brings it down also. And he says, also, l'chaber oisiyesh al-kesef al-freiches chiyetziba dehu ke'en kaisef. Not mamish kaisef. Chen also, v'heitzi b'menu du ke'en moichik. Ayim v'chai adam chalam, zayim atshchasa b'zeh. That's all the Mishabur writes. It's by Ois Nun, by the Sharet Tziyah. That's all the Mishabur writes. To take those oisius, put them on the thing, is ke'en kaisef is also. Now, the person is very busy. What does that mean? What's the issue over here, and when do we answer it? So a lot of people want to say the issue here is because you're putting it, you're fastening it in, and therefore it's like a kaisef. But something that's temporary, and the person speaking about the Bargo games or the Scrabble games, they say moving the letters together and forming the letters together, it's not worse than the Sfarim they open and close, and therefore it's mutter to do it on Shabbos. But some person want to hold. Let's say you're making a puzzle, and you're fastening in the pieces and you're keeping it together, that may be also. That's this case over here, because it's kayam, it's meant to stay that way. So that's the chiluk exactly in the person what's mutter and what's also. So you're right, if you have magnets, someone has magnets. Very good child, they have letters, whole ABC. And you want to leave a message on your fridge. You want to put the magnets together and say, I'm going to kids, I'll be home at 12 o'clock. Is it mutter or not? It's very
That's the question.
It's not Chayama.
I know, but no.
It's not fascinating. It moves around. You're moving around. It's not meant to stay there. Why is it different than the Scrabble game?
Right.
Why is it different than the Scrabble game? Scrabble game,
no, because
it's very easy.
It's very much immediate. You play the game, you will put it away. You
leave a message and you get the next message afterwards.
No, but it will stay till after Shabbos.
Maybe because it might stay till after Shabbos.
Yeah, but the Scrabble also stays till after Shabbos. Unless you clean it up. It's not more. So forget it. It's not a magnet. Not a magnet. You can take Scrabble letters and leave your wife a message on the table and write, I will be home. I'll be on this time.
Oh, but that's not the shame this time.
So maybe it's mutter. It didn't easy to do that. It's a very good haftarah. They come out to have the Shabbos labs. They come out with Shabbos writing. And no matter.
Well, use a computer instead.
But they have this already. I thought you buy these things.
It's for Shabbos?
specifically for Shabbos.
Oh, yeah?
It's meant for Shabbos. I don't remember if they're phrases already, and then there's like, you have, I'm coming home from Kiddush at 12, or you put them together.
The phrases already is not a problem. If you have the phrases already, so it's a big deal.
Right.
Yeah. Or if you don't have the phrase, you want to put together the words. Look, I don't see a mashorah is on it. I'm not going to matter it.
Is it the same idea as the opening and closing of the Sparm, which means that the Mishnah Berurah would say, yes, you can, but if you have another sefer, better not?
Right, could be.
Is it that kind of a heter, the Taz?
Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah. It's definitely not better than that case. It's definitely not better.
Worse. In other words,
it's more chomer than that case.
It's more chomer than
the Taz's case. The Taz's case,
the opening
which Bruce says you could do it, but he says it's better, if you could avoid putting it on the thing, it's better. But here you have a tzarech. It doesn't go away, and he has no way of communicating on Shabbos. That's called a tzarech. Can you do it or not? I don't have an answer to that question.
So even if it stays beyond Shabbos,
doesn't make a difference.
The permanence is not known. It's not fully. It's not ksiva.
It's not ksiva. You're putting it together. You take square letters, and you want to make a letter to your message. You're not doing it on Shabbos. I don't know. To be continued next week.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Yes,
I will speak to Flyer, but I can't imagine they'll say yes. I know what his answer is going to be.
What?
I can't imagine they'll say yes.
For what?
To do that.
The magnet?
Yeah.
Oh, do they just discriminate this?
I can't imagine say yes. I know he's very, very against all these things that we find that Tehrim to do things on Shabbos. I don't know, let me ask you.
There's the concept of the spirit of Shabbos, right?
Yeah. He's very against it. I asked him a Shiloh this week. I asked him a Shiloh similar. That I asked him the LED lights, right?
Yeah.
You have a clock, you have a watch. That's LED, right? That's one thing you have to turn on and off. You want to stay on. Are you not moving on Shabbos? I'm moving on Shabbos, why not? Right? Not muktzah. You have a clock. You have an LED clock. You're in one room, you left the one, you want to move it to your bedroom on Shabbos. You're not move it? You're not move it. No issue to move it. So I asked him, because LED is not, if it's a light that has a fire in it, then it's a bosses of David also. The fire is muktzah. Muktzah machmas gufan. LED lights are not muktzah machmas gufan. That's where you're allowed to move the clocks. So I asked them, today they have the LED flashlights. So why can't someone leave on an LED flashlight for Shabbos? And on Shabbos, we need light. We go around this house with the LED flashlight.
Or lamp. The big lamp.
Yeah. What's this? There is no issue. There's no issue to go around the house with the LED. The question came to me that someone had an LED lamp, and you wanted to move from one room to the next room.
Right.
So I said, I don't see any issue really. And I thought to myself, that's not an issue, so why is it also to have a flashlight? So I went to him this week and asked him the Shiloh. And he says, if you want to give me matzvah, I'm not matzvah. He said, no.
What did he say?
If you want to give me matzvah, I'm not going to be matzvah. I said, why not? He says, because
Shabbos.
He didn't like the whole thing. I'm quite sure the same thing he'll say with these Scrabble pieces.
Okay, don't ask me.